My mother called me Ronald. Ronald. That's what's on my birth paper, but I love Nambo. Well, Gussie Clarke, you know, I say vibrant, enthusiastic, and by working with him, maybe he couldn't relate to you in musical terms, but you knew that he knew what he wanted.
I remember Gussie Clarke on a Honda 50 bike, you know, with records on the back and a carrier, riding around delivering records, you know. And in later years, you know, traveling, doing the same thing. You know, would run into Gussie in London or in New York, doing the same business. So it was no surprise to me that Gussie would have set up an enterprise.
Days of wine and roses are no longer around. Strictly ragga.
Gussie fits the bill as one of the classiest producer. You'll never hear Gussie release a production unless it was properly produced.
His production, I would say, is one of the highlights in Jamaican music. I first encountered Gussie Clarke, that may have been somewhere in 1978. We were recording at Treasure Isle.
I grew up adopted. I was just, so it's kind of just, everything evolved from me, my thinking, and interpretation of my thinking. I usually save my lunch money and buy parts for an amplifier. I swap that amplifier to Errol Dunkley for a cut of a rhythm, the Baby I Love You rhythm. And then I voiced, you know, You Ride Higher the Mountain. I bought a dub machine from Duke Reid at Treasure Island, cut dubs upstairs, and it was much more about what's new rather than what's new by who. So we, even at one point, create this thing I call Gussie's Exposure. What we did is that when somebody is going to have a new song out, they are not in a position to basically pay for press it and make the jacket and do all of that. So I would say to them, tell you what, I'll buy the first 2,000-3,000. I'll pay for everything up front, but you have to give me like 2 weeks ahead of everybody to sell the record. So I would, you know, do all of that, get it out the island quick and then pay them. And so I would have a jump start, because a lot of what was important then was who first brought the record into any market. So I was able to do a lot better than many of them. Nearly every record producer in Jamaica took their 2-track tapes and give me to sell to the sound system and dubs, because everybody was coming to me. So I became the promotional arm of music in Jamaica at that time.
He had his label, and I was in the record store, and he wanted me to distribute his songs for him. So we maintained that relationship until I decided I wanted to be a producer. I met Gussie Clarke while we were attending school at Kingston College in Jamaica.
We weren't close, but I mean, we were schoolmates from 5-6 years. Then I became aware of his musical, you know, exploit. Even from high school, he was kind of making a name for himself in the music industry.
It's amazing when I sit and I listen to like ragamuffin, and you're things there, and I can actually hear my voice. With some of the harmonies, you can hear your voice, and you're like, oh my goodness, just a memory of it all just come rushing back, you know. I was supposed to start doing public relations at the Extramural started, but I found Gussie's studio more exciting. That's it.
So I come and buy him a little box of record and I push him bike. So the bike broke down and I push it to start it. But we know him from them time when I try, you know.
Gussie was not the idle type. He always as a youth doing something. Gussie was under my wing. Till he come like my son, ask him. Gussie put out the first LP with Big Youth, you know, and I never look back.
Big Youth album, Screaming Target. That album was made, recorded and manufactured within less than 24 hours. We recorded all the tracks at Dynamic Sounds, edited by Steve Buckner. We mastered the night, because I think I was going to UK the next day. Mastered the night, printed records at Dynamic Sounds and straight into UK. So I mean, it was fantastic.
When big youth come to England at Rainbow, you know, big youth come and bring Dennis Brown as the man for open the show. And it's the biggest mistake in life, that man. When Dennis Brown come out and say, G, I wanna love you, and the other one chant them down to the foundation and sing 2 tunes on the same rhythm.
D Brown was another character, of course, you know. Of course, you know, he might be late all the time, but then he also would not stop until it's correct.
To the foundation of Dennis Brown, there's this, oh God, I don't remember his name. He had a sound system somewhere from Waterhouse, and he built the rhythm. It was actually, I think it was Baby Satan's Red Rose rhythm, and he had the rhythm, and I said, sell me a cut of the rhythm. I think he was no longer interested, I can't remember his name, he was no longer interested in music. And I'm like, wow, this rhythm is great, I love it. So I went to Dennis, and Dennis, here's this song, you know, and Dennis like, yeah man, and I love the song, and he actually wrote the song. And you know, then the rhythm was so good, I had him rewrite another song to the rhythm. And you know, it did so well. I mean, we even re-recorded the rhythm about 2 different times and flew the voices in and did different versions of it.
Gussie always know what him be, him always smart too. You know, and we used to have a guy in England named Gunsmoke that look after his interest in England.
When Gussie started to record, it didn't have the studio at Sly Road yet. Sly Road was the office. So we used to mostly use RJ, Channel 1, and all the lyrics are top studio, Dynamic Sound.
Me and him was very close, and then him and Jermaine start releasing tune in America. It's the same Jermaine that have that studio, till the young Gussie did have studio face one another. Yeah.
It evolved from a dub cutting studio into a recording studio.
At the same time, importing US records, you know, like soul records, R&B records in Jamaica, and supplying the other sound system, because you had the sound system and you had what we call soul sounds. So all the major souls, you know, the Geminis and the Stone Love and all the sounds you are hearing now, you know, we supply them all, and many that no longer around. So we would import records from abroad, sell to them, and again, it was all about how quickly. So we would get them in, you know. I would, for example, I would send to Keats, and they would go around and buy foreign records, you know, put them on here, Jamaica playing, or find somebody coming down, they land tonight by 8 o'clock in the morning, I clear those records, and within, you know, the next 2 days, all of those records would be sold out before anybody else could realize. So I had a tight machine running, and it worked well. It worked well.
I said to myself, well, why George, I'm telling you this, you know, with or without the diamonds, you know, I gonna make it. So I said, well, that's good. You know, and him live up to his word, you know.
You'd have time when Caxton used to lead. You have time when Bonnie Lee used to lead. You have time when Scratch used to lead. You have time with Jammies. Well, there goes Gussie time.
We only did Coachy for a dub purpose, just to make dub for a sound system. So Bonnie now was a man who started it. Because Bonnie found the things to pass the Coachy on the left hand side.
And then after George finished put on some verses, Gussie went to England with the tapes, and everybody say, I think you should make Diamond put that in a full song.
It's a cool and lovely breezy afternoon.
How do you feel when you got no herbs?
Could feel it cause it was the month of June.
No herbs, you will walk and talk.
I left my gates and went out for a walk. As I passed the dreadlocks camp, I heard them sing.
How did they sing when you heard them sing?
Pass the Coachy on the left hand side. Pass the Coachy on the left hand side. Tag a bun, Tagodon.
That was a man's off it one. We go in the ghetto and see them things there over and over all the time. When you are youth, see Rasta man sitting and smoking pipe. So most of our idea come from things where we grew up, monks.
And then Musical Youth did a cover and it even went bigger.
All of a sudden everybody trying to own the song. The man who play the bass, the man who play the drums, pianist, guitarist, producer, everybody try to own the song and make a big, massive issue out of the whole song. So what really happened, my time was really getting fair out of that song. That song chop up all over the place. And that was the problem. Every time a song become a #1 from Jamaica, it is a problem.
Musical Youth, tweaked the song, call it Pass the Dutchie. Then, they were trying to get to the Diamonds to, sort out. The Diamonds publishing was signed to somebody in America called, I think, Turk Arsenaut. So at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, this song made so much money out of my idea, my concept, but I have no benefits. So I need to get an understanding of this whole thing of copyright. And exactly where we went. So as of then, nearly anything we recorded, we had to own the copyright to it. Because I don't see I should sit here, develop an idea for somebody 10,000 miles away to benefit, who would not even be coming and giving the light of a night of day to the writer, the artist, if it was not my investment. So from that was basically a policy for me. If it's not gonna work, get somebody else record it.
As soon as Pass the Dutchie come out, I didn't know about publishing. If you sing a song for man's original, you don't want it to go any other place to publish, but through music work.
The publishing is really the pension and the business. People like us who were just making music for the public, we don't know nothing about publishing. It's what they make a song. And you hear a song on the radio and you say, yes, it was a nice song. But as we got older, we realized, wow, this income stream is there, we need to be a part of it.
He understood, I guess, publishing before the rest of us understood. The publishing deal that we did was not a good publishing deal. But Gussie was the first to recognize that this was not a good publishing deal. I asked a lawyer to come up with a publishing deal. So of course the lawyer was protecting his interests at the expense of everybody's. So the moment he called me one day and said, listen, you see that contract that you signed with me is not a good contract and I'm going to tear it up.
If you mean people well, you need to see them evolve and you need to assist them to get to their own point of recognition and fruition of what they are doing.
He's a hard businessman, but he's the fairest person I know. If you agree for $1, you're going to get your dollar, regardless of what else is taking place.
We used to work like Joe Gibbs with him. He would book time at Treasure Isle, different places, Channel 1. But now this was Gussie's place.
We started to work with him at Sly Road. I think we recorded 4 albums.
I had been working at many different studios, but the problem is that you didn't have privacy. You're there, you have to be watching the clock. Sometimes you want to develop ideas to a different dimension. You didn't have the time to do all that. So I said, look, let me build my own studio.
You're not checking the clock so much, because this is Gussie's place now.
When we were at Sly Road, we converted the bathroom into a vocal room, and so we had no bathroom. There was an hairdresser lady downstairs, we used her bathroom. It's all the whole part of development and growth. You'd like to have your own. It was rented premises. Anything you're going to do, start it, because each day you start, you're one day ahead.
It was small, but it had a nice vibe. You had to go upstairs and it was a nice vibe.
We spent so many nights there because somehow we ended up doing most of our sessions at night. And sometimes on the spur of the moment, Gussie would call and say, boy, I have a thing here for to do for me.
When I approached Gussie, he was at Sly Road. Met with Gussie, we were sitting on the step right outside. There was no studio there. It was effectively a little office with a dub cutting facility.
But those were unique places that had unique vibes. And when you walk in there, as I say, you know exactly which part around the mic for stand up. It's like a right there, sort of vibes.
Gussie did basically seek advice from other people. We knew what we wanted. We knew what we definitely didn't want. What we didn't want was what most people had. And there was other stuff around. We realized at the time that there were better stuff, or better equipment, I should say.
So we actually went to England and, we identified a console. And, so that in itself brought a different sound. And rather than buying, MCI tape machines, we bought Atari.
Always good singers and musicians and engineer. I mean, all you need that now is vision. When you have all these ingredients for your pot, you have all the spices, you just need to put them together properly, and not overdo anything.
He pulled together an elite team, a team of the best, I would say.
All of these different people with all of the different ideas on one session. So these tracks will stand out for a lifetime. Gussie run me out of the studio. But when Gussie leave, Von Facey, which is Zelly, come and say, come back up, man, but you have to look out for Gussie. I saw when his Benz driving. So I run outside and scratch on the step, but it looked like he knew I was inside. So he came and he said, hey, morning, and he went inside and then he come out and he said to me, what you doing now? And I said, nothing. Him say, all right, I have some money for go lodge up at the bank, up at Scotia Road, right across road. You can go up there for me? I said, yes. And Gussie Clarke gave me the lodgement book with money in it to go and lodge at Scotia Bank. I never run so fast in all of my life. Because I know this is a new relationship. Because if he asks me to do that, that means I can go in. And that was the starting of a good relationship with Music Works.
I try to surround myself with human resources that can assist me in delivering. I would create a beat now and have a thinking and a direction based upon, the song, not even the singer yet. After I would have a singer come in and do a demo of the song, then we would do all the arrangements around that demo and where those harmonies would fall, so things would be different. So how it sounded the day of recording might be a different sound by the time we finish with the track.
Musically, Gussie knew his limitations. Because Gussie didn't sing and Gussie didn't write and so on. So in the studio, Gussie would have people like Willie Lindo, Robbie Lynn, or Dean Fraser, who would actually come and oversee aspects of his production.
Dean Fraser was an integral part of it, because I had Dean doing like supervising background vocals and he was in charge of this whole ensemble of horn section.
He gave me that opportunity, he gave me the opportunity to really express myself also.
We didn't see ourselves as individual stars, we saw ourselves as a section, a hand. Like a hand. 5 fingers, 1 hand. If you can't hear the guy beside you, you're playing too loud. And if you're just hearing the guy beside you, you're playing too soft. So we learned to balance ourselves. So we became very easy to work with. Engineers loved to work with us.
I was a 70s kid, and of course, 70s was the years of the harmonies where you had all the huge groups and all of that. So harmony really became like a part of me, it became my ear.
Diamonds did tons of harmonies for us in the early days. I mean, they're like my favorite group of all times. Though Diamonds and the Tamlins. But Diamonds, they're kind of like my all-time group. But the Tamlins, they're great on harmonies. I won't say why I prefer, come to think of it.
When Gussie was doing that song, Danger, Leroy Smart was there. And he wanted to do the harmony tracks, background vocal. So the background vocal on about 5 Leroy Smart songs. We were like doing background vocals like Joe Gibbs, Gussie Clarke, and all different studio calls the background vocal call. 1975, 76, my time was hot, red hot. So if you just even forget a little piece of the Mighty Diamonds, everybody want that.
We had a role playing. Nadine took the bottom, Pam took the middle, the JC, and sometimes we switch, but usually that was what it was.
Between me, Mike and myself, we would really sit and put the harmonies together. We sang also.
I also started doing backing vocals on a lot of his work as well, Telephone Love, and you know, part of the team again with Brian and Tony Gold, Nadine Sutherland, J.C. Lodge. We were backing vocals for him.
It was really very regular. I mean, background vocals at that time, I just, you know, at that time, I could get my own apartment, you know. Sometimes, like when we're not on, we were just singing. I was dancing too as a youngster and felt I was so cool. Kill you with it. I gonna kill you with it. Deborah. Champion lover, know he's up tonight. Yeah. I was just a schoolgirl until that time in my life when I started doing background vocals with Gussie and became part of that machinery and became part of that team that we were just called all the time. And that included Max's big album that he had, Close to You and all of that. So, and Shabba's album also, Shabba big album. I think at that time I sang background vocals on it.
I remember Gussie would have writers.
Gussie said to me, I would like you to write some songs for some artists. I don't want, because most producers at that time used to check the artist to do a song, and the artist come in the studio and just sing a song.
Nobody weren't paying songwriters much mind in those times, so I just said, you know, here's one of the difference that I'm looking for. Mike was working on jammies, brain not too good going back too far. He was working at jammies, and I think we called him about organizing some background vocals, and he kind of liked how we did what we do.
When you're co-writing some of the lyrics with some of the guys, they would say, nah, no, that sound too foreign, or that sound too uptown, or that don't sound. So one of the things I learned early on is to still make the story believable from whoever you're writing from. So you're writing with a particular person, you just don't use certain vocabulary, because one, that is not a word that they would use normally, and probably because you know, it's not familiar words, it don't have that kind of confidence.
What I want you to do as a singer, I want you to make this song be your song. I want, when you sing the song, it sounds like you wrote this song for you. You look at the artist and know the type of song you want that artist to sing.
Gregory never used a lot of words. So what you would say in a paragraph to tell a lady that you love her, Gregory would say it in 2 lines. So, you know, you had the writer who wrote like that, with that in the back of his head, you know?
I mean, as a young songwriter, you're hearing, boy, listen, Dennis Brown coming on, you write some songs for Dennis Brown. Wow! I mean, you just don't sleep, you know?
Working with Dennis, working with Gregory, he had writers who would write especially for these singers. So he would present them with a song.
He would take out the phone and call me Fred Locks. Sometimes I call me Fred Bob, sometimes Fred Locks, you know. The Fred Bob, what your time stay? How you stay? Somehow you look on something. You know, would I go check him around the studio and you know, say I have them 3 or 4 songs.
I don't get too emotionally attached to songs, you know, so you write a song for a person. Nah, I don't like that. No problem. Let's try a different song. The next day somebody come and hear the song and say, look, I love that.
Mike is extremely responsible and should take a whole lot of credit for where I reached.
I felt like a copy of a Motown approach in terms of the writings and the sharing of writings, because it helps so much. Because sometimes one writer, he could be a great performer, an excellent writer, but you have a point where you start to recycle. You start to repeat yourself.
Creative people tend to be, writers to me, tend to get caught up emotionally in songs when they write them. While for me, it's what's best for the song.
He has a way to tell when the writer is right.
Stephen took each song like it's a piece of art, and he was like a Picasso. He'll hear what you have, but he has an interpretation of how it should be. So he'll equally take your idea and strip it down, twist it around, and get it to how he hears it. Usually, you love what he does.
He was just naughty as an engineer, and Gussie just wanted him to go. Gussie would just give him that You know, Gussie would give him whatever equipment he wanted and just have him go.
If something's on board, I might just delay something. Check. I put a flap to get out that boredom out of it, like a whip. I find a sound inside of my bag. I usually carry my bag with my dad, with samples on it. I probably just pick something.
You know, vibrant engineered. He had all these little trinkets and these little touches that, you know, was not happening much here, but then he did a lot of strange but very, you know, convincing things that made the music stood out and stand out, you know.
He was an integral part. He's the best engineer Jamaica has or has ever had. And he's such a great guy. Always has a joke to give.
First he thought mixing was 2 hours. I said, no, you cannot take 2 hours to mix. You have to book like a 6 to 8 hours so I can concentrate.
When the average engineer would mix a song in 2-3 hours, Steve will take 8 and 10 hours to mix that song. So you need to have your own studio when you're employing Steven.
And I said, all right, go on. And he allowed me to take the time. He realized that, you know, for it to be good, you have to spend time on it.
His way of mixing, he would take like almost a day. And he would just sit there, and I used to look at the vibrations coming from the NS10s, and I just think that he was going to blow these speakers to kingdom come, you know? And I was like, what is he doing, you know? And, you know, his hi-hats.
Cooking something, and he had a little extra seasoning and spice to it, and made great musical meals.
Bass must sound like a house, like a foundation. Boom, boom, boom. And the kick drum must be kicking it. Boom, boom, boom. You know, boom, 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 boom. You see? They must have that kick punch. When I cannot find it, I try to do some other thing, like change the kick drum or something.
He danced his way into his effects and all of that, and he used the rocks a lot. He used the rocks a lot, you know, and he created a lot of, you know, fusion and fused a lot of sounds.
I like to hear the rhythm. There's certain things in the song that's supposed to drive you, the groove. So I always make sure I mix up the main groove. If I think it's just cash should be loud, I make sure that's right in the face. If it's a little guitar, if it's a phrase, you know, I don't know how to explain it to you.
When Steven finished mix is just another level, it does wicked.
He knows who to call for the songwriter, the engineer, which is me. You have to ask him how he know about me from long time. And he called the best musicians them, you know. So he's good at that, masterminding, coordination. And he leave each person, he has an idea, he will tell you, and then leave and let you do the work, you know. He trusts you.
Sometimes the outcome of anything can be subject to the elements, to many different things. You know, Sly and Robbie in a good mood today, the drum will sound different, you know. The bass will sound different. The engineer, everybody's in a great mood. So I understood that. So I tried to create a great atmosphere, have great people who worked well together.
It was done a way that, well, the record company way.
Gussie not going to stop at anything until every little element of percussion or any little thing that is necessary have to be in there.
I kind of know to get around them. You know? For example, Steele will come and doing something and play a phrase. I'm like, whoa, that's great. Play it again. No, I'm not play it again. Okay, all right, fine, cool. Finish the song. When Steele got with a sample it and put it right where we want to go into the song and tell them, we're all right, no, we have it, don't worry about it, you know.
What I would do is play a certain way for each producer. So each house has a different sound. Although he can tell it's me playing, but like the Channel 1 stuff was different. Even our production was different. I was in the same studio. That is a part of it, the producer personality, and you kind of know exactly what he wants or what he's looking for. Like Channel 1 was more hardcore, like, you know, Ernest wanted to hear that bass and drum sound, that means drum pattern kicking on. So when you go in there, you're going with a different attitude. For Gussie, you know, you might go in with a more softer mood, like, because he's like a lover's rock kind of person. We can play just confined to the regular but tick-tick-tock coffee is cool thing, but sometimes you have to go and get rude, you know.
The entire team was just A-class.
When he finished building the studio, he called us in to just play to see what the studio sounded like. So we set up and he went away and we were just there jamming with the engineer.
The jam sounded so good. Steve Stanley had the sound wicked in the studio, like, you know, pumping and really nice.
And it's have a bad tone and go, and it doesn't sound good. So you have to know what frequency you want, right? And what frequency you feel. So that's where I come in.
Myself, Clevie on drums, and Danny, my other brother, Danny played the bass. It was just three of us that played the track. Gussie came in while we were in the middle of playing a track and said, "Whoa, I want this track on my tape." And we stopped because we were frightened. We stopped playing and said, "What track? What song you talking?" He said, "That song you were playing."
That dig it into me. It was really a party groove. You couldn't help but just wanting to dance.
I had a new effect for my guitar, which became a well-known sound after a while. You know, it was being played even on the news before the news started there. Danny was playing bass on the keyboards. And we were actually trying to create a new kind of sound in reggae music.
The orchestra stab became that signature sound. I was still using the Oberheim DX drum machine.
People were coming into the studio. Mikey Bennett came in and heard the track. He took up a pad and started writing "Telephone Love." And then some other guys came in and started singing, and then a lot of songs came out of just that jam session.
Gussie did a combination of Clevie and Danny Brown.
We had a discussion with it, and other people were basically saying it was started with jammers and the sling thing rhythm. That's initially where they would say the computer sound started. But what we did to it was totally different. The whole thing was changing. Live music seemed to be putting it on the back burner. So we started to work with the drum machines.
It created a totally different feel and sound. So, you know, he was directly going at a sound, you know, that would be called like the Music Works sound or the Anchor sound, you know.
I used to get a lot of calls from people from Colombia and some other countries trying to say, how you create these songs? And I was like, no, we couldn't tell you what we do.
You could differentiate Duke Reed, Cox and Channel One. Still, you understand me I say? You know, you would reach a stage that when a record plays, you could say, well, yes, that's a Fattest Burrell record, you know. You know, that's definitely a Gussie Clarke record.
Rumors now. That song we're doing a Mighty Diamonds project on Carlton, and you know, they had this great song and I'm like, yeah, this is a hit. So we laid the track and we said, oh God, bass, drum, piano, guitar, this does not sound like the Diamonds. And like, this sounds like Gregory. Lo and behold, who came up the step? Gregory Isaacs.
I think because the harmonies on that track was Mighty Diamonds.
Mighty Diamonds was supposed to sing that song. And there goes Gregory come on and say, better I sing that song, it's spreading the rumor on me. So the whole thing switch up.
Tooth, we have something here for you. I'm saying, what is it? How much money? And like I say, put the tape on, and because we had our writers usually makes demo tracks.
I did the demo of the song with my guitar, about 30-something years old. That's how long Rumors was written. Rumors was supposed to be a 10-track song.
Gregory said, put on the tape.
The song would just fit. It would just fit like one of Gregory's suit them, you know.
That was the rest is history.
Gregory turn up and turn it up too.
Lead vocal.
Spread up them face, make man and man have money. Your rumors are gone.
Your Shabba voice a leak through.
Rumors them spreading, claim that I sense in me planting.
Alright.
Rumors and rumors
Gregory
and
Isaacs,
rumors,
one of the most important songs in M carrier.
Your rumors are gone.
And here's where we did it, you know.
Rumors them spreading.
It was actually the Brownie Bunch and Robbie who created this track. Danny Brownie played bass, Clevie Brownie from Steely and Clevie played drum, Dalton Brownie played guitar, and Maestro Robbie played keyboards. So here we go with Danny Brownie.
Flashing a Chris rental. So you check that me a criminal. Rumors them spreading. Claim that I sent me planting. But I'm an addy Danny, naddy juggling. I pure rumors are gone. Rumors rumors of one. I keep a dance just to nice up the place. Me buy no liquor and red off them face. Make man and man have money to spend. And all the youth them know me and them friend. Rumor them spreading. Claim that I sense in me planting. But I'm an addy danny naddy juggling. I feel rumors of one. Rumors of one.
Robbie Lynn played all the horns stuff from his keyboard, so that's just how it worked out. I met Gregory. I had a small under 50 bike and I was selling records, so I don't remember who somebody sent me to him, so I went to him somewhere on Wellington Street. We had drive on Mr. Isaacs and and we just kicked off from there. So every time, Gregory, let's go back to the first day we met. But I mean, Gregory is the most quick-witted human being I have ever met. I've never met anybody as quick-witted as Gregory. I mean, stuff that Gregory do. I mean, we were at Dynamics recording Private Beach Party album, and Gregory wrote a song, and I'm like, okay, what is the name of the song? He said, Nick of Time. I said, Nick of Time? Yeah, we just make it up like Nick of Time. It was funny.
Gregory would come in and Gregory said, boy, you name Dr. Marshall. Chicken foot.
Gregory come to me and Gussie, no pay me no mind, I don't care what happened. So I'm like outside talking to him. Held on to my shirt, grabbing me all the way up to the gate and, cursing and going on by. I'm like, what is this? So when Gregory reached the gate, there was a cab waiting with the door open. And just later, jumped straight in the cab, leave about 20 people down Dynamics waiting for money. He was funny. He was funny. When we were at Sly Road and Barry, who now works at VP Records, was there, and I don't know what happened. Gregory has drove with some knife or something, threatening the man. So next morning, Gregory come. I am there, Barry's there. So Gregory come up and I'm standing here, Barry there. Gregory touch me. Gussie, tell Barry morning for me and him not talk. I'm like, it was funny. Gregory called me and says he's sending a member of his staff to me. So a young man came to me with a letter, and opened the letter. This serves to advise that Mr. So-and-so is a member of my staff and is authorized to collect all royalties owed to me. So where his signature would be, Gregory draw the picture of a gun. It was funny. He was funny.
I was working at Jammies by day and by Gussie at night. So when the rumors with him just came out, Gussie had a way of doing things which was very, very organized, and he wasn't into the rhythm. He had no intention of doing like a rhythm album. But I was at Jammies now where the rhythm stuff was the thing, And I said to Gussie, if Jammies had this rhythm, he would put everybody on it. But he was saying, no, that's not his style. I think he got a call from some friends in New York, said, listen, they hear 3 different people trying to, because they know he wasn't going to do it, to remake the rhythm. So he should. So then he and I sat down and we started to decide, who to put on the rhythm. But because I was already exposed to most of the guys from Jammies now, so I was doing like A&Rs, inviting people over, Shaban, Tibet and the various people, and so he reluctantly went into it.
I was never usually into doing an album with 20 different songs or 10 songs on the rhythm. But what really happened is that when rumors came out and we were aware, and I was aware of quite a few producers who was them so lick over the rhythm and go and create how much songs off it, and I'm like, okay, let me beat you all to it. So the sound was new, they couldn't capture that sound to make anything similar. So I know of 2 persons who actually build songs on the rhythm and record it and couldn't do nothing with it. So we just say, let me beat them at their one game. Because I've probably only done that maybe about 4 times in my career. It's not something I believe in.
Gussie called me in because it was just 3 instruments basically, and he said, well, now we need a piano. And that was just pretty much it. It was just the rhythm. For every song, I wanted to have its own signature. So we did the keyboards, all the overdubs, and just right down the line, all of the other people. But the rhythm was so good, you could sneeze on it and it became a hit.
I put that where it comes, telephone love, arrange it different, that kind of arranger. That's why I hear all of those songs sound different.
I actually use the emulator to play the saxophone part on Telephone Love. A lot of people probably thought I was a real saxophone, but I just got a good sample, you know, from the store, and I use it on that song.
Jamaica never really supported a lot of the songs that came out. They probably broke in America and England before even Jamaica recognized them.
Telephone Love, although it probably wasn't this big chart hit, it paved the way for a lot of stuff that happened to Jamaican music in America after that.
My view has always been like, look, song makes a singer, singer don't make a song. So at the end of the day, what is best for the song is what's best for me.
That song was a brilliant choice from Gussie Clarke. I mean, to have selected a song like that, as controversial as that.
In England, this whole thing of the pirate stations was at the forefront of, you know, shutting them down and that. Like, I'm like, hey, Mikey, it's a great idea. Why don't we create a song about pirates?
At first, when he came with the idea, I thought it wasn't really for official release. But you know, he was brave enough to do it, and I lift my hat to him for just doing what he believed in. You know?
One time we were doing a Dennis Brown project, and the problem with Dennis is that Dennis was too kind, too good to much people, and it was to his detriment, you know. And we were doing a project. I had to employ a policeman to come at Sly Road and sit on the step. So when Dennis is inside the studio working, nobody could come inside there to disturb him. Because the amount of people who come outside, everybody wants something, you know. The concept was, look, Gregory is a star by himself, Dennis is a star by himself. So whenever these two meet doing a stage show, here's a great song for both of them to do to bring the house down. That was the thinking. And that's how those songs came about. The same thing with Freddie and Dennis. That was the thought and the thinking. They will all end up on a show, and here is a great song they can do to get the crowd will love it. So it was kind of a visionary thinking.
Yeah. Like I remember Dennis coming, doing his part, and then we get Gregory to come and do his part. Seeing? And then now, to make the different areas that each singer was going to, Stephen would put all of that. I mean, of course, with Gussie's input, telling him where he wanted that and so forth, but those were just exciting sessions, trust me.
I remember the first 3 or 4 notes Dennis Brown sang from a demo that I had done. I mean, just telling you, the goosebumps coming right back. I remember it's like I'm right there. He was in the studio singing it, and he was singing some incorrect lyrics. So I was just pointing out, no, it's not that. And he was saying, no man, that's the lyric. And he was, so apparently somebody had written it out for him. And I kept insisting, but he did. So everybody in the studio now started to laugh because I knew I had written the song. And he was saying, what happened? And Gussie come out and said, is the man write the song? And I said, but I thought it was a foreign song. He came and said, listen, you don't have your label? I said, yes. We had like a 2 friends label. He said, I'm going to do an album for you. Of course, yeah, Dennis Brown. So he said, you have a song? I didn't have a song, but I wasn't going to tell Dennis Brown no.
The word music works, right? I think we had some issues with the tax man with the name Music Works. So we just changed it to Anchor and just close down Music Works. I think that was it, in all fairness. So we just say, look, you know, I mean, typical simple people growing up doing busy, you don't start doing things right or understanding that you should.
And we eventually closed down for a couple of months, and we built the room from there on, and that's how it started.
The first session done at that new Anchor when it was opened was my production of Freddie McGregor's I Was Born a Winner. That was the first song when Gussie, that was the first song that tested the studio. You know, and it was a #1 song everywhere.
To this day, it's still one of the nicest places to work. It's comfortable, you know, and as I said, he always had top people working.
It has served many international artists from all over the world.
Sting from the Police, Simply Red, Fugees, trust me, just to name a few. Gussie gave me a ride to school because he was my neighbor. And for some reason, not all he had to stop at the office. This is at Sly Road now, and I got beaten I saw all these equipment and then got an idea how they made it. So I was smitten. That was it. Done. I've been at Anchor Recording since I think 1981, fixing all these stuff. When someone discovered that I had the ability to repair little microphones, etc., etc. Find myself at nights when I should be studying at the studio, and that morning sometimes when I should be at school. Sorry, mommy.
If you look at here, what we call a studio and what many studios in Jamaica is totally different setting and look and convenience and care.
And I need to ask him, music works. Where did that come from? You know, because it's something there. It's a message. It's a statement. Music works. You can do what you want with it, and it still music works.
Everybody that don't open in a studio, call me first to test it, to do the first work. Like Mixing Lab, they call me. Grove Music, Mr. Young. Barry Simon studio at his house up there with They Gonna Talk, those songs. Gussie called me to do some work at his new studio just opened. I remember when I went there first, they were still fixing things. So I took back up my bag and went back home and said, you're not ready yet, because you're still fixing things.
The small room outside was going to be a dub studio, where the dub plates. But then Gussie realized that if he had done that, the amount of crowd and the kind of crowd that would come there would affect the clients.
Studio One is a replication of original music work studio in terms of size and sound, with a little bit more difference in the vocal. This Studio 2 is actually the flagship of the studio. It's basically we call it the church. Everybody, because it's so big, you can accommodate nearly anybody, anything.
That big room, there's a big room there. And we said, wow.
If a next man come and rent the studio, it's just what he can afford. If he can afford the small one, use the small one. Or the bigger one, or the middle studio. But the 3 studios sound good as well.
We just had tons of new equipment and, it just worked. It just worked.
We are always adding to our equipment list, even now. When you're adding to the equipment list, a lot of time you buy stuff that you never ever use. You probably hook it up and you use it 1 or 2 times, but nobody is ever attracted to it. Well, we also have a lot of those. Big rock there behind me tells the tale of the story.
Part of the problem why we're not having better hits is because, well, I call it a me factor. Everybody wants to say, it's my studio, and me mix it, me are the producer, me are the writer, me are the manager, me this, and they are not qualified and competent. A guy, takes a program, builds a beat, and says he's a musician. Him don't know what key the song in. Him don't know anything. Him don't know if somebody's off key. Him don't know, from here the first intro and the first 4 bars, here the entire orchestration of the song. That's not production to me. So I found now is that most artists wants a producer to work with to develop their talent so that they can go to the next level and leave them. Now, the nature of our business are structured, it doesn't make any sense to be investing in something that if it grows, you can't grow with it, but you'll invest in it. And I have a problem with that.
Today's industry miss people like Gussie. Honestly.
If we agree onto something, don't come back and tell me tomorrow no. Because once we agree to take my money, that's the way it is going to be.
Whatever deal you and Gussie have, that's what it's going to be. He's not going to go against his word either. And Gussie is known for that.
Gussie is not the kind of person who's going to make sentiments get in the way of his objectives.
He does business how it's supposed to be done. You might not like it sometimes, but it's the right way. The fact that the music industry is made up mostly of inner city people, the government don't really think it is sort of anything viable or important to the culture. He's doing things to protect his company, which is nothing wrong. That is standard everywhere in the world.
If you're doing an album, a 10-track album, for example, I had a very carefully of why I manage the business. I'd probably divide the money into 20. So by the time you reach the 9th song, there's half due. So they'll be more willing to complete the project than I am. And that's why I got a whole lot of things done. Because if you pay the money up front, God help you. I mean, if something is wrong, so by the time we're doing the last song, all the corrections would have been done on the other 9 songs already.
You could see the makings of a businessman there. Yeah, usually on time. And even when time comes for you to be paid, he's usually on time.
Well, to me, Gus is one of the sharpest minds in the business. He's just a businessman. To see how he built his empire is something that I've sat back and admired, you know, for such a long time. And he just went steadfastly and just built his thing, you know.
Anything that Gussie have, him well deserve it and him work hard for it. He's one of the hard worker too.
Gussie was more looking, in my view, overseas. Gussie was looking to license and so forth and so on. That was where he was. He understood that the market wasn't in Jamaica.
My father was a Christian. He says to me, he doesn't want me in his house. I must go back to those demonic places. So when Gussie dropped me off in the morning, like 3 a.m., I used to have to stay in the little pathway where the veranda is and hide. I would jump over the house, the roof of the house, and go around the back. And one night, Gussie saw me. He said, "Doc." And when I looked down, he said, "Come here, what's happening?" And I explained to him, and he said, "No, come. And that's when Gussie took me in. So when he took me in, that's when Gussie became my dad.
The creator's there, and we recognize and acknowledge the creator. But down here now, in this dunya on this earth, I say music because I refer to her as a she. She clothes me, she feeds me, she makes me happy, she brings me friends, she takes me all over the world. And I can go on and on. She does so many beautiful things. So I have to say, Mama Music, just keep loving me because I'm so grateful.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I have this wonderful feeling, 'cause everything's going my way. Thank you, Lord. Thank you.